Hey there, Star Wars fans, and welcome to In the Resistance HQ, a weekly family-friendly Star Wars podcast.
In today's episode, we're talking about the future of Star Wars on the big screen, in shows, and much more. But not before we talk about some of the week's biggest Star Wars news stories.
However, as this is our first episode, we just want to talk about what we're going to be doing on this podcast, what we'll be talking about, and where you can find us.
So as we said, we are a family-friendly podcast, so anyone of any age who likes Star Wars can listen to us. We aim for weekly shows. Sometimes we may miss a deadline, but we'll try to upload after that as soon as possible. We'll spend about 3/4 of an hour to an hour talking about Star Wars. About half the time will be on the latest Star Wars news stories, and the rest on the main theme of our choosing.
You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and Podchaser. If you find somewhere that we're not on and you think we should be sure to tell us. Our Instagram is at In the Resistance HQ, and I have it linked in the description. You can DM us on there with any questions, requests, and so on, or you can email us at intheresistancehq@gmail.com. We aim to be a positive podcast as much as possible, so we'll accept no negativity or hate in the comment section of YouTube, Instagram, etc., so we can all have a good time and love Star Wars as a community. So with that out of the way, let's start with our news stories. Okay, so you haven't heard these news stories. I didn't tell you what they were, did I?
I thought that went pretty well.
Yeah, that's our scripted bit, guys. For those of you who don't know, Joe can really do that. You're struggling with that one, yeah. So you don't know what these news stories are. I've pulled these out of the bag.
Yeah.
So our first one is Lego Star Wars have announced their new mosaic sets. Have you seen these?
I haven't actually. No.
You have. Okay, so you may want to look them up. Otherwise, you won't be able to talk about this. So Lego Star Wars recently unveiled 3 new mosaic star sets with Vader, Darth Maul.
Actually, I have seen them.
Yeah, you have Vader, Darth Maul, and Kylo Ren, and then you can put them all 3 together as a big Vader. So I'm quite excited about these because we haven't really got anything like this in Lego Star Wars yet. So these should be quite interesting to see. What are your thoughts on them?
I think they look a bit too blue. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, the Darth
Vader
one.
like
yeah. It looks like those old TIE fighters we got in the early 2000s. It's a bit odd.
Yeah. His suit is black. I don't know why they're making
Yeah.
it blue. It's a bit weird.
I think it's meant to be like a reflection, but they've gone too blue.
Yeah.
With Kylo Ren's, it works because they did kind of not enough blue to make it look like they've made it blue. You know.
Yeah.
The thing is, I want all 3, but they're 120 quid each, and I'm not going to pay 120 quid for 3. But actually, I'd want the big one.
It's a bit on
as
the
well.
high end.
Well, I'm not paying 120 quid each for all 3, plus a further 360 for the Vader. That's right there. That's £720. Plus, I'd quite like the Iron Man ones, which is they're too expensive for my taste, really. But I'd like to get one of them. That should be quite interesting. Yeah.
I quite like the Maul one, but on the Maul one, the blue looks so out of place.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about the coloration
off.
on the blue one. Yeah, that one's an interesting one though. So our next news story is Lucasfilm have finally addressed midichlorians. So this comes from screenrant.com. The Disney era has done a solid job of redeeming Lucas's malignated Star Wars prequel trilogy, but so far they've completely avoided midichlorians. The recently published Secrets of the Jedi seems to draw a line under them. It's supposedly written by Luke Skywalker, completed shortly before his death in Star Wars The Last Jedi. In one section, Luke mentions midichlorians and dismisses them as irrelevant. During the time of the Galactic Republic, the Jedi used science to explain why some of us feel the Force more strongly than others. Prospective younglings were tested by the Jedi Order for midichlorians, microscopic life forms that reside in all living cells and impart the will of the Force to their hosts. Those with a higher number of midichlorians were able to hear the will of the Force more clearly than others. Personally, I've never been one to worry about how exactly the Force whispers to me. All that matters to me is that it still does. And that's the end of the quote from Scream. So what are your initial thoughts on that?
I don't actually like how they try and bring science into the Force. I always thought it was like a mystical.
Yeah, because the Force,
unexplainable.
when you first watch the original trilogy. It's that kind of the Force magic, and then you get to this, and it's just a bit like, yeah, they're just really tiny particles. It's just like, you know.
But I don't think they should be completely discarded because we learned them from Master Qui-Gon, and
Yeah,
he was one of the most important people in
yeah,
the Star Wars
yeah.
universe.
I think the way the article is said, you know, dismiss them as irrelevant is one of the quotes. I think that's not maybe the right quote. I think it just shows that there's more. Maybe says that there's more to the Force than what the midichlorians show. And I like this idea from Luke that he doesn't care how he's got the Force, but it's the fact that he has the Force and that's what it cares about. I think
Oh,
that's
that quote was from Luke.
yeah. So that
Yeah.
but yeah. So that's a very Luke sentiment, and I really like that.
I mean, in the Clone Wars season 6, it was like an arc with Yoda where he goes to
Yes, the
learn to be a Force ghost. I like that
yes,
explanation of the Force.
because I mean it was still midichlorians and everything, but it showed that the midichlorians were controlled by the Force priestesses. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, which added that it made it mystic again. And you know, that was one of the big things that people had problems with the prequels. They, you know, with the original trilogy, it was kind of new. It was original. It had the magic, and then with the prequels, obviously, because the year it was set in, it was more political and wars and science and that kind of stuff. And you know, this was generally one of the mistakes of the prequels. So I like how they've done this. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
The next is that Brie Larson revealed that she auditioned for Star Wars. So it's thought that she probably auditioned for Rey. What are your thoughts on Brie Larson in Star Wars? What do you think that would have been like?
I think she would have been great in Star
She would have
Wars.
been. Yeah, I think Brie Larson gets a bit too much hate. Really, I think.
Yeah.
I loved Captain Marvel. It's actually one of my favorite Marvel movies. I don't really understand why people hate it so much. I think she did really well in that. I mean, obviously, I
Yeah.
love Daisy as Rey. I think she does a really good Rey. I think Brie could have worked as Rey as well, certainly.
Yeah. It would make it a bit more diverse, I think.
So, what are your thoughts on Brie as Rey? What do you think that would have been like?
I think it would be amazing for Brie to be a part of Star Wars, honestly.
I think she's with the Marvel thing. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see more Marvel actors in Star Wars, because I mean, I know Star Wars has been kind of about bringing new actors in. You know, we'd never really heard of John or Daisy before Star Wars, but I think it's also got that element of prestige to it. So I think it would be good if they start incorporating maybe some of these kind of actors who are used to this. And I think Brie Larson could be a very good and useful asset to the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah, I think it would have made it quite a bit more diverse, I think.
By diverse, you mean?
As in, background of the actors.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for me, Daisy Ridley will always be Rey, and I can't imagine Rey as anyone else. I think it would be very good to see her in there. She's a very good actor. I really like her.
Yeah.
And then the final news story we have is that A New Hope has been named as one of the UK's most watched films of all time. I think so. On average, Star Wars A New Hope has been watched 11 times, which is pretty impressive. It's fourth out of the poll they did, beaten only by Die Hard, Dirty Dancing, and The Wizard of Oz.
Did you say 11 times?
That's what it says here. This comes from The Independent. According to the study, the three most rewatched films have been watched a total of 12 times on average, narrowly beating out Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope, which has been watched on average 11 times. And yeah,
is this per person?
I think so. Which can't be. I mean, I've watched. I love Star Wars. You love Star Wars. I haven't watched A New Hope 11 times. I'd say so. Return of the Jedi is my favourite. I've maybe watched that 7 or 8 times. I've maybe watched The Last Jedi, which is my second favourite, 6 or 7. I don't know. I mean, I was quite surprised that it was A New Hope. So I think there were a lot of... A New Hope's a popular movie when it comes to the franchise, but it's not the most popular, you know?
No.
I mean, mind you, I guess it is the place to start. But I think most people, you watch it once and then kind of
Move
you
on.
develop favourites and you get others.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly can't say that I've watched A New Hope 11 times.
No.
No. I think if it was going to be any of the movies, I would say it would be Return of the Jedi or Revenge of the Sith as the top one, or maybe Empire.
Mm.
But I'm not the biggest fan of Empire, which is something I'm very ashamed of. But
I love the Empire.
I don't know why. Empire Strikes Back is something everyone talks about. It's the greatest Star Wars movie. I just can't like it. I don't know why. I think it's mediocre, overrated. It just doesn't excite me. And I don't know why that is. So I want it to, but it just doesn't.
Is it the CGI?
I don't know. But yeah, so I was slightly surprised by this. But it's certainly good that it's as high as it is. I think that's pretty cool. Woo! Go.
Same.
Go Star Wars.
Especially in the UK.
Yeah. Pretty cool. So that is all of our news stories for this week. Now we're moving on to the main section. And so this week we are talking about the future of Star Wars. So the kind of stuff Star Wars is going to be moving into. What did you do there?
It's a clap celebration.
Oh yeah. Woo! So what Star Wars is going to be moving into, what
I'm excited.
what we're going to be seeing from the future. So obviously we're going to be starting with The Mandalorian Season 2, which I am very excited for. That comes out in October, doesn't it?
October or November, definitely.
So the main thing I'm looking forward to for this, or one of the main things, is being able to watch it with the rest of the world. Because last time we had to watch it. Well, you watched it illegally on time.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But because so you can probably tell we're from the UK, we didn't get Disney Plus until March,
February.
March 30th.
Yeah, it was March.
March 31st, so April basically. Yeah. And then they released Mandalorian each week. So we couldn't watch it until 5 months after the US, which wasn't fun.
Annoying.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to be able to watch this with everybody else. So we have, at the moment, Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano in live action, which has now been confirmed. How are you feeling about that?
Cannot wait for that.
Oh, it's going to be so sick.
I mean, there's a part of me who thinks, no, they may mess it up with live action and she should stay in animation, but I'm still excited.
Ahsoka's a cartoon character. She but no, I'm looking, and though I'm looking forward to Rosario Dawson playing it. I think she's right for it. I'm not sure. I would have liked if they'd had Ashley do it, because Ashley
with the voice,
because she does acting as well. Mm-hmm. She's also an actress, and she's been Ahsoka since season 1, episode 1 of the Clone. She's been Ahsoka since the Clone Wars movie.
Yeah,
she is Ahsoka Tano, and she's got her whole.
She knows that character the best.
Yeah, and she's got her universe. I think clothing brand. Half the stuff they do is Ahsoka, and I. From what I've read, she's feeling a bit miffed about not being Ahsoka in this. But I think it's just good we're getting her in live action.
I don't know how they would transform Ashley into Ahsoka. I don't think she looks like her at all.
Yeah, Rosario has got that kind. She's got the right face.
Yeah,
I think. Because did you see that fan art a while ago? She said about 2 or 3 years ago, "Oh, I'd love to play Ahsoka in live action," and someone drew a fan art of her. Did you see that?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, it looked very good.
It did.
We also have Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan confirmed, which is going to be interesting. I am looking forward to Bo-Katan.
Is she going to be in The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
alongside Ahsoka and
everybody
Sabine,
else. Yeah.
maybe.
So yeah, so we have Katie. So Bo-Katan in the Mandalorian. What are your thoughts on this?
I think she belongs in the Mandalorian.
She does.
She is a Mandalorian. She's
She
like the
is.
main Mandalorian.
She's a Mandalorian through and through. She's yeah. My only concern is, I mean, I know it's called the Mandalorian, but it's not set on Mandalore yet. So what this says to me is either that Bo-Katan maybe lost control of Mandalore, or they're actually going to go to Mandalore. And if they go to Mandalore, that'd be so cool.
Indeed.
Yeah. If they went to Mandalore, I would be so happy. I swear. We also have, so related to Kate Sackhoff as Bo-Katan, we have Sasha Banks as Sabine. Now, this is a rumour. It's a strong rumour, but it's still a rumour. So it's not been confirmed yet. They seem to be, to me, going on a big drive of bringing cartoon characters into live action this season. What are you kind of thinking about that? Do you like it? Do you not?
I do like it. I think
Yeah.
as I don't really mind if it's animated or live action, as long as we get these characters
I think
that we all love.
The more we see them, the better it's going to be. Have you watched Rebels?
I have, yeah.
It's a great show. So, I mean, you've got the picture of Sasha Banks there, haven't you? You know what she looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she looks very like Sabine. I mean, she's already got purple hair, which is handy. Because Sabine has purple hair. She's got the right kind of stature and stuff.
How many times has Sabine changed their hair? She
changes it season 1, season 3, season 4, and halfway through season. She changes it 4 times or something. Ridiculous. She has great hair, Sabine. So yeah, I'm looking forward to her as Sabine. We also have Tamara Morrison confirmed to be in The Mandalorian. What's not confirmed is his role. So the main line of, yes, very interesting. The main line of thinking is that he's going to be playing Boba Fett, because we heard, I think it was the end of the Gunslinger episode, people heard what he thought was his sound or something. I don't know. What are you thinking about seeing Boba Fett survive, being back in live action with a good storyline?
And Boba Fett is a fan favourite. Unfortunately,
he
didn't get much live action screen time, so this will be a good opportunity for Disney to extend his character, and we'll do in the future.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Boba, he just looks cool. He's just one of those characters who just looks cool. And it's also rumored that Tamara Morrison may be coming back as the one and only Captain Rex. Woo! Yay!
He would probably be with Ahsoka. Maybe trying to find Ezra.
Yeah, imagine if we got Rex in live action. I think.
Wasn't he in? It wasn't premeditated, but wasn't he
in
Return of the Jedi?
Yeah. Because the main problem a lot of people have with this is that what's he going to do about the aging thing? Because obviously they double the rate. But apparently, there was a way that they could stop the double aging. So it could be that he's just done that, because before he found the Rebels and Star Wars Rebels, he didn't really have anything necessarily to live longer for. It was just him, Wolf, and Gregor on that ATTE in the middle of a desert planet. But
living the rest of their life.
Yeah. And those two would age at the same rate as him. But now that he's got this family, almost, he can. There's something for him to live longer.
There's a purpose for him.
Yeah. So if we saw Rex in live action, that would just be the coolest
thing.
But,
yeah.
So one concern I've heard voiced is that, is this too much? Are we getting too many new characters in this? I mean, last season we got Baby Yoda as the big person. Now we're getting Ahsoka and Bo-Katan and Boba Fett and Rex and Sabine. Is it just too much? You know?
It depends how they do it. If they do it all in one season of The Mandalorian. I think it would be, but if they do it over time, they
Yeah.
release them into into the new canon. Then
If they put Ahsoka, if they put all of them in one episode,
it'd
I
be
think
far
that
too much. Yeah.
yeah, if they just, but they need to introduce them in over the season. I think, now that the whole thing about Ahsoka's spread, then I think the problem Disney've got is that it got leaked and it got out, and I don't think it's actually confirmed that she's playing Ahsoka yet, but it's, everyone knows she is.
It practically is. Yeah.
But
Who
Disney
else is she going to be playing?
Yeah, Disney couldn't do it on their own terms. So people know that Ahsoka's in here, and they're now doing their own headcanon, making stuff up for it. And what they may be doing is introducing her in kind of like the last shot of the last episode as a teaser.
Kind of like Luke in The Force Awakens.
Yeah, because they weren't thinking that it would get leaked. They were like, oh my God, it's going to be... Because they managed to keep Baby Yoda completely quiet somehow. They were thinking they were going to do that, and that would have then worked. But now that it's leaked, if they do that, they're going to get a whole load of criticism for it.
Yeah.
But if it hadn't leaked, so that puts them in a very difficult position. So I'm
personally, I wouldn't mind as long as Ahsoka is now in live action. And she'll be in live action in the future.
Yeah.
But I know other people would mind.
Be very disappointed, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, as I said, that's the problem where they've got people who have started to make their own headcanon about this. But I think this could be a very, very good season, and I mean, even better than the last one. And the last one was so good. So I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be amazing.
Hopefully.
We also have Kenobi coming out in 2022.
I'm so excited for this. Hello there.
Sign the petition to get this named Hello There.
I hope it is, honestly.
You know, Ewan McGregor's come out and said that he wants it to be called Hello There. That'd be so
Perhaps
cool.
he can change it to be called Hello There. That would be awesome.
Hello there. General Kenobi, you are a boy. That's my General Grievous voice.
It's great.
Thank you. General Kenobi.
General Kenobi.
I sound like Groot gone wrong. Not Groot. That character from Lord of the Rings.
Gollum.
The wing dude. Gollum. I sound like a mix of
Yeah.
Gollum and Groot. Yeah. So it's set to be released in 2022, so it's still got 2 more years to wait, which sucks. But oh well,
Yeah, I heard they're starting production in August, mid-August. I don't know where from.
I think it's just as soon as they can, they're going in. Because what I heard. So have you heard about the original script?
No.
Oh God, it was shocking. Absolutely shocking.
What happens in it?
Like bad. So it was still called Kenobi and everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is what was going to happen was that it will be about a bounty hunter searching for Obi-Wan, and the adventures that they had whilst they were doing it, and then come like the last minute of the last episode, they'd find Obi-Wan, and that'd be it.
But it is called Kenobi. How can they do that?
Exactly. As you can imagine, that script got scrapped.
I think if it was Maul, it would have been better, but still, no. But they already showed what Maul did in Rebels, so they couldn't have done that.
Yeah, that would have been a complete disaster, I think.
Yeah. They would have flopped.
Yeah. But do you know who the director is?
No.
So it's Deborah Chow, who did episode 3 of The Mandalorian, The Sin.
She's the bounty hunter.
No, that's Fennec Shan, Ming-Na Wen. Hello?
Hi.
The bounty hunter was played by Ming-Na Wen, who's Melinda May in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know if you've watched that.
The one who had the bounty on her?
Yeah. That's not Deborah Chow. But by the way, if you haven't watched Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., go and watch it. It's a great show.
I haven't watched it.
But pumping from Marvel here. Honestly. Deborah Chow is just one of the directors. She did the one where Mando goes back and rescues the child, Baby Yoda, and they have that bit where in the firefight where all the Mandalorians come down in the jetpacks.
Mhm.
That's such a cool scene.
It
So
is, yeah. When all the Mandalorians come out.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about having one director doing all of it. I think one thing that worked for me with The Mandalorian was that all the episodes were slightly different and they were interesting. But because they had one overseer, basically Dave and John, it all fit together and it worked.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure how it's gonna work just having one director, but it should be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Definitely.
I mean, it could be better, it could be worse, because having one director means that wait, is it he or she?
It's Deborah. So is she.
Yeah. She has all the control over the set, so
Yeah.
it's completely her creative
Mm.
ideas. But with two, you have already two creative ideas, and then they can merge together to perhaps make it better. So.
Did you watch Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian?
I think I watched a part of one of the episodes.
Yeah. If you haven't watched it, guys, go and watch that. That was definitely a good thing. I really enjoyed that. She's in that. We also have coming in 2021 the Cassian Andor show. Now,
what's that going to consist of?
So from what I heard, it's kind of going to be like a spy thriller western thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things. So don't get me wrong here. I'm excited for this. I'm looking forward to it. But who asked for a Cassian Andor show?
Yeah, like they could have done. They could have done Mace Windu. They could have done anything else.
You could have done
but
a
they did Cassian
show
Andor.
dedicated to like Boba Fett or something.
Yeah.
Orlando. Or a solo series, but you choose Cassian Andor.
There are so many more prevalent characters.
I'm very excited for it. I'm interested for it. I'm certainly going to watch it. But I'm just confused as to where their thinking came from with this.
Yeah.
So the cast is Diego Luna as Cassian. He played Cassian in Rogue One. Alan Tudyk as K2SO. So we do have K2SO in here, which is good. Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. So he's definitely with the rebels.
Must be like the start of the rebellion.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
So kind of similar to Rebels, perhaps.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Then we have Denise Goch to be confirmed, Carl Soller to be confirmed, and Stellan Skarsgård to be confirmed. So those last two, we don't know their characters yet. Now, Denise Goch, I hope I'm saying that right. She looks around about Diego Luna's age. I think there's a very good chance she could be like the love interest, female partner kind of thing here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably going to be her role. Carl Soller, I think, is either going to be a big bad. So it's kind of like what's he called? From Rebels in the first two seasons. The dude with the blonde hair. Oh, what's he called? Help me here, Joe.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're on your own.
you know Rebels? Star Wars Rebels.
I'm about to look up blonde-haired dude Rebels season 1
what's
to 2.
He called? The Imperial dude.
Oh, Agent Callus.
Callus, that's it.
Yeah.
Who's kind of like their age, ambitious Imperial officer kind of thing. So I think Carl Soller is either going to be like that kind of character, who then comes to the rebellion, or just like Cassian's best friend. But Cassian seems like the kind of person who wouldn't have a lot of best friends. Like, no offense to Cassian, but that's not really his character.
He kind of puts the mission before anything
else. Yeah. And then lastly we have, now let's hope I stay this right, Stellan Skarsgård, who I just mentioned, and he plays Eric in Thor and Thor: The Dark World in the MCU, so he has MCU acting experience already. Oh, and he played him in Avengers as well. So for me, he's either going to be one of the big rebel leaders who's like a father figure to Cassian, or he's going to be that kind of, pardon?
To guide him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or he's going to be kind of some sort of an overarching, intimidating Thorn-like Imperial officer.
Yes.
So he could be two very different characters.
And speaking of Thrawn, do you think he could be in the Mandalorian or Ahsoka series when they're trying to find Ezra?
I don't think he's going to be in Mandalorian. I think so. So there's been rumors for a while about a Rebels sequel, and I think it's not going to be called Rebels. It'll be called Rebels Sequel 5. I think it's going to be its own thing. I think it may be the Ahsoka series, and that might be like season 1 of the Ahsoka series. Is Ahsoka finding Ezra and stuff and going on the hunt? I think that's very plausible. And that's when we get Thrawn. And then Thrawn is again the big bad of the Ahsoka series. Or Vader.
So I can't see him turning good.
No. But the Ahsoka series still isn't confirmed yet. That's still a rumour.
Yeah.
But no, I'm if that happens, I'll be very, very excited.
Yeah.
Next thing coming up in 2022 is the next film being directed by the one and only Taika Waititi. We love Taika Waititi. He's the best.
Of course. Yeah.
Taika Waititi is just like, you can't not love Taika. Hi, my name is Korg. I'm kind of like the leader in here. This is my terrible New Zealand accent. What do you think? I know. Sheer quality. It's also being co-written by Christy Wilson Kahn, who did 1917, which from all accounts is a very good movie.
Yeah, it is.
I haven't watched that yet.
I was just about to watch that again for the second time.
I've got it.
Soon.
Literally, it's sitting on my table in my room, the DVD that I need to watch.
It's kind of like a mini Lord of the Rings. Like they go on a quest, kind of.
Yeah. So that film is going to be very, very, very good, I think.
Yes.
So it's certainly going to be part of a trilogy. We don't know if Taika and Christy are doing the entire trilogy or just this film. I hope they're doing the entire trilogy. I think it would be awesome if they did the entire trilogy. But even if we just get one film from Taika, that would be like the best thing.
Hopefully they don't do a JJ Ryan JJ for the new trilogy.
Yes. Because, and I think even if they do have several directors, they need to have one executive oversight from the start. Because the problem with the sequels, and I just want to quickly mention this now. I don't want to be one of those podcasts that are like, oh, sequels are taboo. We're not going to talk about the sequels. You know, people didn't like them. Okay, we're still going to talk about them. I mean, Joe and I,
Star Wars.
Yeah, Joe and I have different opinions on sequels, certainly, but we still want to talk about them because, as you said, they're a part of Star Wars, and they're something that, even though you may not like so much, they're still part of something that we love, and we don't want to hide away from them. I think because that would just drive everything underground. So people, we are going to talk about sequels, but don't worry, I love them. So it's always going to be positive for me. And Joe doesn't love them as much as me, but he's still going to talk positively about them.
I'm still going to try and be positive.
Yeah. So yes, as I was saying, that you were saying there for the moment, I went then. As you were saying, that was one of the problems with the sequels, that we had JJ Ryan JJ and no overseer. So, you know, kind of JJ went
Kathleen?
down. Yeah, but Kathy, she didn't have much. She kind of left it up to JJ and Ryan to pretty much write what they wanted, and she was like, "Yeah, that worked."
But
You
for
know,
the Rise of Skywalker, I thought she fired multiple directors
it was just
because
Colin.
it was just okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think if they do, and it would be great if they had someone like Dave Filoni, who worked
Yes.
directly on the creative team, writing it with every single
Mm.
director, and they had a clear plan from the start. Because with the sequels, they didn't have a clear plan, and Kathy wasn't on the creative team. She was just the kind of the one that signed to approve it, you know. And I think that's one of the one because JJ took it in one direction. Ryan was like, that was good, but I'm going to take it over here. And JJ was like, okay, I see what you're doing there.
Well, I'm going to switch it over and take it over there.
But I'm going to switch it over, but go even more over there now, because that was where I wanted to go. And if it was my thing, I would have gone in a diagonal line that way. But instead, and I think the sequels had they stayed with Colin, Tirage, Duel of the Fates, I think it would have worked a lot better, because Colin and Ryan worked very closely on The Last Jedi and very closely on Duel of the Fates. So those movies were directly, because The Last Jedi wasn't too far away from Force Awakens. It wasn't like the gap between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. So,
I mean, it was just a couple minutes away.
but I mean, like the stylistically.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I think it would have worked better if they had, if all the directors had worked together on it. And I think that's what they need to make sure they do with this next trilogy, is just have everyone working together and have the overseer, so they have that clear plan from the start and that stylistic choice. And
Yeah.
that's how they can make it work. And that's how it's going to shine.
So even if they do get different directors, they'll stick to the plan from the beginning.
Yeah. And although they'll have some creative control, it won't be do whatever you want. Because with the sequels, it was just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
We also have the Make Solo 2 Happen movement that flared about 2 or 3 weeks ago for the second anniversary of Solo 2. Big question. Do you want to see Solo 2 happen?
I just want Darth Maul.
Yeah.
I don't really care about Solo, to be honest.
That's the thing. Be interesting to see Solo 2, but we want Solo 2 for the Darth Maul content. Let's all be real here. I loved Solo. I thought it was a great movie, and I would love to see Solo 2 happen. I think I would like to see it as a movie, but I honestly wouldn't care if they did it as a series. Yeah?
Yeah.
I think it could be a very good series with the kind of style it's in. I think Solo 2 is a very real possibility, and I think it would be so good if it did happen.
Yeah. Well, like at the beginning of the series or movie, it'd be like Maul, how he lost control of the crime syndicates, and then when he went to Malachor or something.
Yeah, or wherever he was. He was on Dathomir.
No.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
The ancient Sith world in Rebels.
In Solo 2, he was on Dathomir, and then he got to Malachor. So we could do flashbacks to how we lost control of Mandalore, and then move forward to how we lost control of Crimson Dawn. He has a habit of losing control of stuff, doesn't
he? Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
I think Darth Maul is just kind of doomed to fail, really.
So hold on a sec. Did I just say we're going to find out how Maul lost control of Mandalore? For God's sake. Did I not? Did I not watch season 7? Did I not watch season 7 of the Clone Wars? I'm so embarrassed. Oh my God. We've gone. I'm sorry, guys. We've gone. Okay, Mike. Edit.
You could have season 7 in live action.
Yeah. Okay, guys. We know how Maul lost control of Mandalore. I'm sorry. I'm not a complete idiot. I do know how that happened. Whoops. Yeah. So we don't need that. We also don't need to know how he formed Crimson Dawn, because we also know that. So we just need to know how we lost control of Crimson Dawn, then we'll be good.
Yeah.
Whoops. That went well. So, our penultimate item on my list is the Rian Johnson trilogy, which has now been confirmed. Go.
Mm.
Come on, Joe, you've got to say something.
I don't know anything about the Rian Johnson trilogy. I don't know what it's gonna be about or
No,
how he's
so
gonna do with it.
all we know so far is that Rian Johnson is getting a trilogy. That's all anybody knows, but apart from
Is it
Rian.
gonna be in this Star Wars universe or is it?
What do you mean in this Star Wars universe? In the Skywalker saga era?
Yeah.
Joe, you know as much as I do. Literally.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't know. I would kind of like a trilogy set in the Old Republic or the High Republic because we don't really know much from before the
the
prequels.
thing with Rian Johnson is he has quite a different take on Star Wars to a lot of people. He's well, as kind of JJ and George were involved in kind of the happy, let's all be one big family, let's go on an adventure with the Force kind of thing. That kind of
Yeah.
happy clappy stuff. Not to say
Jar
that I
Jar
don't like.
Binks.
I still like that. I wasn't kind of disregarding that. I still like that. Ryan's kind of more about like the big adventure, like the big story, and the more serious stuff and the more serious aspects of the Force. And if someone told me that before I watched The Last Jedi, like that's what this movie's going to be like, I would have been like, I'm going to hate this, but I loved it. Last Jedi was my second favorite Star Wars movie.
The first would be.
Return of the Jedi, of course.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Whereas if you say to a prequel fan,
Me.
big adventure, dark aspects of the Force, a lot of them would say, bring it on, that sounds amazing. Whereas
Yeah.
in my experience, prequel fans were the ones that hated The Last Jedi the most.
Yes.
Which is, it's interesting. So I don't know how he managed to do that, to completely switch the tables, but he didn't. He did it very well. So I think it's very likely that Ryan's trilogy will be Old Republic. I think that's the kind of thing that suits him.
Yeah.
And I think he is the man to do something for the Old Republic.
I guess it could be like around the time of Darth Bane, how he forms the Rule of Two.
Yes, and that kind of
how the
them
Sith
going
fell.
underground. Yes.
Yes.
And the kind of the Jedi, that could be very, very effective. And I think in Ryan's hands, that would be very, very good. Like, no matter what your thoughts on The Last Jedi, that would be you take The Last Jedi and put it in the Old Republic era, that style, that will be very effective.
Yeah, without the Rose and Finn side quest.
I think with Rose, had we had Duel of the Fates, she would have been a much better character. Because Rose was developed with Colin for a very big role in Duel of the Fates. Have you read the Duel of the Fates script?
No.
No. So quick spoiler, but doesn't really matter. In Duel of the Fates, they go to the Jedi Temple on Coruscant to send out a beacon to everyone to basically come and overthrow the First Order. And they use this old transponder thing in the Jedi Temple that can get past the First Order's communications blockade because it's so old. And Rose is essentially like one of the ones that basically fixes that and does that. And she also, I think, helps rally the citizens to rise up against the First Order. So she would have
had
So she would have had a really big role in that, and I think she would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah.
That's my little in defense of Rose thing.
I do want to see more on Coruscant in live action.
Yeah.
Because all we saw in the prequels was a green screen. We didn't really get in depth. And we saw the politics.
We saw a bit more in Clone Wars, but...
Yeah.
So there was supposed to be the Coruscant Underworld TV series that George made scripts for like 50 episodes of and then was scrapped. And there was supposed to be... I know, yeah. There was supposed to be Coruscant 1313, the video game, which was again lower levels of Coruscant. But for some reason, everyone just keeps scrapping Coruscant. I don't know why.
Mm.
And
I want to get some more of the Separatist homeworlds as well,
yeah,
because we only
we
got
never really
like
see
one episode
Separatists.
of that in the Clone Wars.
Now I think it's time to move on to the biggest Star Wars thing at the moment, which is, of course, the most preposterous rumor of the last 10,000 years, which is that Disney are going to cancel and rewrite and rewrite the Star Wars sequels.
Yay.
I mean, how can anybody believe this?
I know, like, I think people believe it because they want to believe it, but it's just never gonna happen.
I mean, the guy who let me just look this up quickly. So the guy who did this, who came up with the rumor, has the most ridiculous name. It's kind of like someone Deadpool DVD or something. And I'm like, you know, you've got a name like that. I'm not gonna trust you. You know?
No. Yeah.
You know, and he's basically claiming that what's going to happen is there were these mirror things in Palpatine's throne room in that here we go
Oh yeah, I've seen. Yeah, I think I've seen.
YouTuber known as Doomcock DVD or something.
Lovely.
Yeah. So basically what he's claiming is happening is that they're going to use this mirror thing in Palpatine's throne room in the Death Star in Rise of Skywalker to go back in time and create an alternate timeline.
So kind of like the worlds between worlds.
Yes, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, sorry, what? That is just like, just the most ridiculous thing. I mean, if they're going to do it, they will just cancel the sequels and say, yeah, these no longer count, we're going to redo them. You know? They're not going to mess with time travel. I think Disney very much learnt their lesson on time travel when it came to Endgame.
Yes.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Endgame. I think it's a great movie. But the time travel in it's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting, but it's confusing.
But there's so many flaws.
Yeah, it's confusing. They use alternate, like, for those of you, quick spoiler, skip ahead 2 minutes or something, if you haven't watched Endgame. So future Nebula, so like 2023 Nebula kills 2014 Nebula, but 2023 Nebula survives. That wouldn't happen. She'd die.
Yeah.
This whole alternate timeline, quote unquote, that doesn't exist. You have one timeline. That's what happens.
That was the whole thing about getting the time stones back, is that they
Exactly.
wanted to have one timeline. Nebula would have died if there was one timeline.
Thing is, and they cross their own rules off, like the grandfather paradox, which is basically, if you go back in time and kill your grandfather would never have been alive to have you. So you could have never gone back in time and killed your grandfather. So your grandfather would have survived and had you, so you could have gone back in time and just an endless time loop.
It goes on and on and on.
And Bruce Banner, Smart Hulk, literally explains that, saying, so when War Machine's like, why can't we go and kill baby Thanos? He literally explains that. They then go and break that rule to get all the Infinity Stones. It's impossible. And you know that whole.
So the movie is so contradicting.
Yeah, and it's funny. They say Back to the Future is a load of not so sensible stuff.
Nonsense.
And yes, and Back to the Future, the first one, is actually one of the most accurate time travel things I've ever seen.
But we don't actually know how time travel would work because
but
we haven't discovered it.
The grandfather paradox is a fairly safe bet, because what happens in Back to the Future is he goes back in time, he breaks up his mum and dad from meeting, and so he starts to fade away. But I mean, it doesn't completely follow it, but it's got the essence. And I think if you're going to do time travel, you've got to do it like they do it in Harry Potter, where what happens always happens because you change it. So you never experience any other timeline ever. What happens will always happen,
Yeah.
and there's nothing you can do to change that. You know what I mean?
I think that's kind of with Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban as well. I think they went on that kind of
that's
take.
why Harry Potter works.
Yeah.
So I think,
But then they kind of did a Marvel as well, an Endgame as well, because in the Cursed Child they broke all of the rules that they had previously established.
Cursed Child isn't Harry Potter canon.
I swear
I'm
it
going to put it
was.
out there. It is, but no one considers it as canon because it's so terrible.
Yeah. I liked it as a show, but as Harry Potter,
It's
no.
not Harry Potter. Yeah. The thing with the sequels cancelled is there's so much evidence that they're obviously not. I mean, for one, sequel haters will use the excuse that nobody likes the sequels. So what? Yeah, and I've explained this to you before, haven't I? In my experience, more people like the sequels than dislike them.
But less people actually talk about it because there's so much hate against
if you like something, you're not going to go around everywhere on every chat, on every comment section, talking about it. Whereas if you hate something, you are. So it makes it seem like there's tons more people. And I think if you're a sequel hater, generally you don't subscribe to like YouTube channels or something that like the sequels. You just don't do it. Whereas if you like the sequels, you're more likely to look for those channels, but you're still subscribed to people who don't like the sequels because it doesn't really affect you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think another thing is that the media and so the kind of demographic of the people that hate the sequels are kind of 20 to 35 prequel lovers for some reason. And not I've got anything against prequel lovers, but that's just the demographic, and that kind of age group control the YouTube demographic and the media demographic.
Yeah.
So they're the most vocal, so that's what people see. Whereas I think, from my experience in the podcasting industry, from listening to people, there are a lot more people who like the sequels. I think there are fewer people that are that kind of age demographic, which is interesting. But I think with this whole sequel cancel things, you've got kind of the haters who are kind of like, yes, this is great, this could be so good, I can't wait, I'm so happy we've succeeded. And then those kind of extremist sequel lovers who only really like sequels because they do exist apparently. I'm not a fan of anyone who's an extremist of any trilogy. I think just like all of them and you'll have a good time.
Yeah.
And you've got those two sides, almost from a civil war kind of thing, like, this is going to happen, we love it, we hate it, blah, blah, blah. And then you've got kind of the other 50% of people in the middle going, what are you people on about? This is obviously not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most compelling arguments I've heard is that Disney have invested millions and millions of pounds in making Star Wars theme parks. So they've got Galaxy's Edge Orlando, and I think they're opening up definitely Galaxy's Edge Anaheim and maybe somewhere else. And those locations, England. I wish. We haven't even got a Disneyland here. But those locations are very sequel themed. You've got stuff like Resistance Reborn. That's a sequel thing. They spent cost millions of pounds to build. They're not going to build them and carry on building them if they're going to redo the sequels.
Yeah, Galaxy's Edge is very sequels heavy.
Yeah,
they wouldn't have done that if they were going to scrap them and start over.
It's just a bit like, seriously, guys. I think it's a bit optimistic of some people to think this is going to happen. Because, I think it's odd because even people you wouldn't expect to say it's going to happen are saying it's going to happen because they want it to happen. Like, the main morning that it started blowing up, the channel Star Wars Theory, I'm guessing.
Yes.
He'd done a video about it, and I saw that and I literally felt sick. Look at the title and think, oh my God, do you think this is going to happen? And I watched the video, and he was saying it was going to happen. It might happen because he wanted it to. And I'm just like, okay, it's obviously not going to happen now, but I think a lot of people are just saying that it's going to happen because they want it to, which is unfortunate. But what would you think if this was announced that they're going to be cancelled?
I don't think they should be cancelled. I think they should move on from it and try and make Star Wars better without restarting it, because no one's gonna forget the sequels just like that. It's gonna stay. And
So, do you want them to do it? Would you be happy if they did that?
I don't like the sequels, but I don't want them to do it at the same time. It's hard to explain.
That's very interesting to me. 3 months ago, when we first started, when we had that big sequels argument, you were kind of like, I hate the sequels, they're awful, they should be decanonized, you've got to redo them, we've got to scrap them, they're terrible.
I didn't say they should redo them.
You did.
I?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And now 3 months later, you're like, yeah, no, I don't really want that to happen.
I'm much more conservative about it now.
Yeah, I wouldn't say conservative. I'd say I was speaking about this to you the other week. You've kind of grown to like them a bit more, I think, which is
I haven't grown to like them. I've grown to accept them.
Yeah, to accept them and respect them a bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, as I said to you, I think there is some part of you that actually quite likes them. But
I mean, they're still Star Wars, so
yeah, or likes the actual movies. But yeah, so guys, don't worry, that's not going to happen. But I think we're probably approaching the end of our time here. So I think it's been a great show. Well done, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, listeners. Subscribe wherever you're listening to this on. Helps us out a lot. We should be posting next Sunday as well, hopefully, if I write the script. And anything else you want to say before we sign off?
I think this was a good start to the podcast.
Yeah. Thank you for those wise words of wisdom. So we'll see you guys next week. May the force be with you.
May the force be with you.